1,000 followers and it stops cooking.
When I drive my dog, I like it to be in a BMW.
Top mistakes new dog trainers make and how to become a great dog trainer. There are so many bad ones. Do you want me to tell you one mistake you made?
Yeah, go on.
What structure is not is giving loads of space and room for error for your working dog to become. What is the best or correct way to handle a situation when an off-lead dog approaches you and your reactive German Shepherd whilst training in a local field, park, etc.?
If you're trying to control your own dog in that situation and you ask for a behaviour or lead lifts at him and say, right, you have to sit, and then he gets popped by this dog, I don't think that's...
She then gets a dog eventually on a lead. What did she turn around to us and say? Well, I'm not a mind reader. If he's not alright, let me know. And I said, but if I had told you he's not alright, it wouldn't have made a difference. Because how to keep going with a reactive dog? Sometimes it gets too much and it's hard to go out.
Be motivated, but don't be so...
Your formerly reactive dog having a blow up once in a blue moon doesn't mean your dog's still a...
Essentially, there is some wrench time involved.
Yeah.
You want to make a change in the gym, you go to the gym and you work hard. You want to make a change with your dog, you got to put some work into your dog if you want. Sausage and egg.
Any good? Air fryer jobby?
Air fried sausage, scrambled eggs on the pan.
Scregs.
What kind of hob have you got?
It's like an... I think it's an Arga or something. It's like... It's
Oh,
not
nice.
an Arga, it's a... I'll take a photo for you. It's
I
fancy.
know what you mean. But is it like gas powered or is it
I think it's gas.
electricity? Gas.
Mm.
Have you cooked in your own house yet?
No. Couple of thousand followers and it stops cooking.
Does your chef cook for you?
Yeah.
No, I am a chef now.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Meal prep kitchen. It'd be great if they sponsored us. Prep kitchen, could you sponsor us? Make this into a reel, and then you could do our food for us. And we'll post about you. It'd be nice.
We're athletes. as well.
Apparently, if we get over 100k, we get discounts off BMW.
Oh, nice.
So BMW, you want same or no? Maybe.
What do we have to say?
BMWs are great.
When I drive my dog, I like it to be in a BMW.
I like knowing the safety of the BMW. It was going to keep my dog safe.
They don't make vans, do they?
No, they don't make trucks
They
either.
should ever make a van.
A couple of X5s.
Yeah,
A couple of
that'd be
X5
alright, wouldn't it?
competitions.
Oh yeah, like the coppers. But they've got dogs in the back of there sometimes, don't they?
Yeah. All right.
Nice, alright.
Mate, we're going to do a Q&A today. So, are you ready?
Always ready.
Okay. Top mistakes new dog trainers make and how to become a great dog trainer. There are so many bad ones.
Oh, it's a gnarly knife.
That's
knifey start.
a stabby in the Becky.
The one I'm seeing predominantly at the moment, particularly like new dog owners, not setting boundaries.
No, it's top mistakes new dog trainers make.
Oh, well, so, so you know, that's the next one, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Top mistakes.
What mistakes did I make?
Errors. Do you want me to tell you what mistake you made?
Yeah, go on.
You
That'd be
overindulged
nice.
yourself with information, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah. I felt like I was playing catch-up, though,
Yeah, fair enough.
because you were my mentor and knew a lot of stuff, and I knew nothing. Well, I knew some paper stuff.
No, you knew plenty. There was just I guess there's so much information out there.
That's
it's
the
very
problem.
easy to overindulge yourself, isn't there?
Yeah, separating the wheat from the chaff, isn't it?
Yeah. And as you get better as a dog trainer, you get one of the skills you will learn is being able to decipher good information from bad information.
Yep.
Because of the information
Yeah.
out there on dog training, perhaps only 5 to 10% is actually worthwhile consuming.
Yeah,
Don't quote
obviously,
me on those numbers, but you can
No.
quote me on those numbers.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So yeah, probably over other people who do that as well. Too
In
much
any industry, right?
information and not focusing on getting the job
It's
right.
like the gym stuff, isn't it?
Yeah,
There's
okay.
so much shit out there about
Yeah.
contracting the muscle and hypertrophy and
There's some
time
good,
under tension. Right, have a dig, eat lots of protein. If you want to lose weight, eat a little bit less, walk a bit more, sorted.
Yeah, there's some good memes going about about
Start
that
with
at the
that,
moment.
and then it's the same with your dog
Yep.
or dog training.
Yeah.
Have a dig.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, having a dig.
Train some dogs.
Not having to dig enough.
Don't be scared of rain. It rains lots here. It's rained for 3 months straight here in the north of England.
Yeah, it feels like it has.
We had to build an ark for us and the dogs. Our training field flooded.
It did. It's still flooded. The driveway.
Any other mistakes that new dog trainers might make, mate?
On the probably the flip side of the coin of that, putting everything in one basket.
Yeah.
So like either whatever scatter feeding for reactivity is the one thing I'm going to do, or on the opposite end of the scale, trying to take dog's head off is the only thing I'm going to do. All right, let's be sensible. There's probably something in between there. And
getting caught in that kind of echo chamber of listening to one, like you said, listening to one person, taking that as gospel and just falling there.
Yep. Yeah.
So don't harness all your focus on one particular method or ideology, no matter how where your personal bias falls. Go learn it, so at least you learn the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
So then you can explain effectively to a client why something may not be the most effective route to go down when they're treating their dog's behavioural issues, reactivity, or whatever it may be.
Eloquently put.
Next one, bruh. I'm a retired Special Forces veteran here. I've raised and trained my Malinois to be my PTSD service dog. Everyone talks about structure, but I know fuck all about what that means on a day-to-day basis. Could you give a hypothetical daily structure routine for a working dog?
I love his honesty, for starters.
Good question.
A great question, and ask those questions, so kudos to the guy.
So this is an NGL, so it's an anonymous question.
Yep.
So we don't know who's asked any of these questions, meaning we'll get more honest questions that perhaps people wouldn't have liked to answer should their name be associated to the question.
There's a few I'd ask you if it was anonymous.
I didn't get any spicy ones.
I'd ask you on a date or something.
Thanks, mate. I'd say yes. Could you give a hypothetical daily structure routine for a working dog?
This is you all over, isn't it?
It might not be, because he doesn't have much of it.
Because what?
Yesterday we went to the park. He chased a Lhasa or the Lhasa chased him.
Ooh.
He had fun.
Nice.
We had a really shitty training session on Sunday, and
okay, go back to the early days.
Okay,
the pre-8 month Stark, because for me, once you've got a decent grounding, you can relinquish a little bit of Velociraptor chasing, or whatever it might be.
So, what structure is not is giving loads of space and room for error for your working dog to become self-employed.
Nice.
So, with lack of structure, there is plenty of opportunity for your dog to pick up bad behaviors whilst they're trying to self-exhibit their working needs and desires, right? So until you teach your dog how they should be doing, I think what people mean by structure is by making sure that the dog isn't regularly placed in those opportunities where they're going to rehearse the unwanted behaviors that we don't want to see out of our working dogs.
Yep, nice.
Or another way to put it is, do not treat your untrained dog like a trained dog until it is trained.
Yep.
So structure is, great, you come out, I'm going to give you either supervised free time, I'm going to do a training session with you, I'm going to do a play session with you, I'm going to take you on a walk, a structured walk, or whatever it may be, or a safari walk. It doesn't really matter. I think structure is making sure that our dog hasn't got an abundance of opportunity to learn how to be a dick.
Yep.
And then structure can slowly start leaving the dog's life once the dog's habit kicks in of, this is how I operate in everyday life.
Yep.
So Stark, now turning 2 years old, has a lot more free time than he did, like you said earlier, than when he was 8 months old. Because when he's 8 months old and he's testing out and trialing the waters of the world, you never know what he's going to get up to.
You do not, sir.
And should he find loads of fun and value in practicing those unwanted behaviours, barking out the window, chasing the postman, chasing the sheep over the wall in the field opposite my house, whatever it may be, I'm going to make sure that I've got a keen eye on him. And when I can't have a keen eye on him, he's going to be in a crate, because if I don't know how he's going to self-employ himself, should I not employ him under myself? Does that make sense?
does to me. But no, I think it does in general. It's in a very basic sense, limiting the possibility of error. For me, everything's a science experiment. And the way science works, or when you try and do an experiment, you control as many variables as you can, and you just change one, and you see what effect that has. If you're allowing Stark to change the variables, you're going to get a different outcome to what you might want.
Yep, very nice. If you want a hard example, and maybe how a day in the life of Stark looked like at 1 year old, perhaps we would get up, I'd let him out to the toilet. I would then put him back in his crate while I had coffee and breakfast. I would then bring him out, and we would train for meal number 1 of the day. We would then perhaps play after, or vice versa. This would probably be at work here. Lunchtime, toilet break, maybe another ball game or some training. Tea time, training, ball game, maybe an off-lead walk, but not an abundance of stuff. I think back in the day, we'd accumulate no more than an hour's actual work, like expending anything past gear 3. I think people doing 3-4 hours of work creates a problem in itself.
Yeah, I had this conversation the other day.
Plenty of crate time, some place time, opportunity to come out and be neutral and on a lead, or some sort of form of communication I can have over the dog so he's not falling into those bad habits. But just have a plan in your head that you're not letting your dog be the master of their own destiny until they're trusted.
With the person who's asked the question's background, I'd imagine they're fairly good at being structured. They could probably apply a lot of that to the dog, I imagine.
But I don't think he needs to worry himself too much, as long as he's got a plan in his head and you're not being lazy and you're giving your dog plenty of exercise. It doesn't need to be something stuck on the fridge that you have to follow regimentally every single day. I think sometimes we can overthink it. Next one.
Attack.
What is the best or correct way to handle a situation when an off-lead dog approaches you and your reactive German Shepherd whilst training in a local field, park, etc.?
That's a really difficult question, isn't it? And it is
I've changed my mind a little bit on this, but go on.
You're just going to say drop the lead, let the dog go?
No, that I would do that in certain circumstances.
Yeah, if it's as much as you can, don't allow that to happen. Don't you put your dog in that situation if it's not going to deal with it well.
Choose your situations wisely,
and control the environment as much as you can. Use roads where people probably wouldn't have them off lead flying at you, but equally, I don't know, I kind of caught a little bit of what you were doing in a class the other day with someone.
Oh yeah.
Where you kind of almost like basketball defending.
Yep. We'll overlay the video right now.
Bing.
Bing.
Which is good. Obviously, if it's really going south and the dogs come over all guns blazing, for me, I'm probably going to let my dog go. I'll still try and deal with that dog myself if it gets to that point. But for me, if you're trying to control your own dog in that situation and you ask for a behaviour, or I don't know, you lead lift sit him and say, right, you have to sit, and then he gets popped by this dog, I don't think that's going to be good for your relationship because you've made him almost defenceless.
It really triggers me when people are like, just put your dog in it down and then go and collect the other dog with a slip lead. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck off. I've got a very well-trained fucking Malinois that is well-trained in like a difficult sport.
Yeah.
He could maybe do that whilst I go and catch a dog with a fucking lasso it with a slip lead.
Yeah.
But 99 point... My fucking other dogs aren't doing that. No chance.
And,
so when a professional dog trainer gives out that advice, I'm like, fuck you.
I don't see why they should do that.
Well, yeah.
As well, that's probably more of a political argument, but I don't see why... I think I asked you this question the other day, didn't I? I used to ask him a question every 5 minutes. Now I've thinned it down to every 5 hours. And I asked you if you've got a relatively non-reactive dog and another dog just kicks off at your dog and keeps going and keeps going and keeps going, but they're on lead, and then maybe your dog has a bit of a bark or growl back.
Yep.
Do you chastise that dog?
No.
Neither do I. Because there's a limit, isn't there? Like...
Yeah, so we had a one-to-one client the other day, and the dog tipped over and had a bit of a woof and a lunge at Dals, and like she had a woof back, and it was all good.
Yeah,
it's just dog being a dog. You can't like suppress natural reflexes, and sometimes when the dog's just expressing how they feel all the time.
Yeah.
If your dog's being a dick and really going out of their way to cause a ruckus, then of course you can say, right, cut the shit. But and that's where judgment comes in. I've been going to Golden Acre Park almost every day recently because I'm trying to get my steps in and walk range and Darla and more. I'm about to go with Alicia after this, and we're going to film all the off-lead interactions we have and how we deal with it. But for the most part, I'm not kicking off. I'm not even asking the owner to get their dog on a lead. If the dog is like happy-go-lucky and is going to come in, if it's on them. If my dog goes and like does something to their dog, it's on them, unfortunately. But for the most part, I'm with my dog. Keep going. Come on, let's go.
Yep.
And we're just going along. And do you know what? I've been there every day for 2 weeks. A dog fight's not happened. Like, nothing crazy has happened with any of the other dogs running over. There was one which was difficult with a whippet, which was literally running circles around the dog we were working with at the time, which isn't fair. But for the most part, they're little cavapoos and cockapoos and spaniels that are just coming around, having a little sniff. I've, like, shepherded them away with my leg.
Yep.
And it's going to happen in real life.
It kind of circles back to the environment, though, doesn't it? You wouldn't, if your shepherd's still fairly highly reactive, that's probably not the place for you yet.
No.
Go somewhere a little bit easier, rack up a load of wins.
Yeah.
Maybe one day you get there once the dog's normal reaction isn't booting off.
Yeah.
But if the dog's normal reaction is on the sight of a dog running over, kicking off, well, then don't go somewhere where that's more than likely going to happen.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, so we're taking dogs that are ready to be proofed in certain situations there and experience the off-lead dog running over.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yep.
It's inevitable. That's never going to be absent in your dog's life. Like, it's going to happen more than 20 times.
Yeah.
With these, unless you don't take your dog anywhere. So train for it, work around it, accept it, and once you change your mindset around it a little bit, you'll feel better about it. There's no point screaming at the owner that fucking... So, other day, with our mate Humphrey, Border Collie comes along and it goes into that like stalking, predatory, like staring like this, right? Our reactive dog that we're working with at the time, and we're working on a field like away from the path, just so dogs are kind of passing by. Our reactive dog at the time is then tipped over and he's fucking losing his shit. Because of the body language of the Border Collie is super confrontational, right?
Yeah.
And I can hear the owner shouting at the dog to come back. Obviously, the dog doesn't pay a blind bit of fucking notice of the owner. She's then saying to us, "Is he all right? Is he all right?" Bear in mind, our Labrador at this point is just like fucking lost his head. He's doing backflips on the end of the lead. I'm like, does he fucking look all right to you?
Yeah.
She's blowing a whistle at this point. She's like saying, "What's this? What's this? What's this?" The Border Collie then comes in, our dog lunges, Border Collie then fucks off, making things worse for us. The owner then turns around. I've not spoken to her at this point at all. Because I'm speaking to my client, this is what you need to do. Keep backing up, offer him food, keep backing up, offer him food. Don't worry about the other dog. Stop trying to talk to the other owner. Just concentrate on your dog. There's no point communicating to that owner that clearly can't control their dog because she's trying her fucking hardest and the dog doesn't even know that she's there. She then gets her dog eventually on a lead. What does she turn around to us and say? "Well, I'm not a mind reader. If he's not all right, let me know." And I said, "But if I had told you he's not all right, it wouldn't have made a difference because you couldn't get your dog back on anyway. You couldn't have tried harder than you tried."
Yeah, fair enough, yeah. What did she say
She then said, "Well, if you had told me sooner, I probably would have been able to get him back on lead." So immediately it was our fault. We said nothing to her during the process because the client was concentrating on her dog. I was concentrating on client. I knew she couldn't get her dog back, yet it was all still our fault. We were working away from the beaten track as well. So that's when it becomes annoying, right?
Yeah. Because things happen, don't they? If the lady just says, "I'm really sorry."
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. There's no one in the world that hasn't had their dog run up to something they probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Fucking no one. No one. Range and Dals have done it. Stark did it. Stark, when we didn't do it, he tried to jump the wall to come back here when I had driven there. So he tried to come back to YCA.
Fair enough.
So he stood in our big field. I'm sat in the van like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "We're going back this way." And I'm like, "We've driven here. Get in the fucking van." So it happens. Even while trained dogs make mistakes. So when people do it and they're trying and they hold themselves like in good stead with it, then that's fine. It fucking happens. Shit happens. It's dogs. But don't then turn around and fucking blame us.
No.
When our dog's on lead on a 6 foot line. Yeah, I don't know. Next question. How to keep going with a reactive dog? Sometimes it gets too much and it's hard to go out to be productive with it.
Interesting one, this.
Yeah.
Every now and again I get a client who almost attacks too hard.
Like, does too much.
Yeah, well, in terms of process is the same, every day's the same. Train the dog 4 times a day, and they come back maybe like for a session 2 weeks after another session, and go, do you know what? I'm knackered. Like, it's pretty hard work. This. I'm like, take your foot off the gas.
Yeah.
But do it smart. Like, book out a dog field.
Yeah.
Go to Woofing Woods or whatever. You know, like, take your foot off the gas. So long as in those moments you're not letting the dog go backwards, it's all right to not do stuff.
Yeah.
It's all right to enjoy your dog. Like, so from that perspective, like, be motivated, but don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah, and
like,
don't...
Obviously, you've got to put in work to make progress. The dog's not just going to magically wake up better one day. But you can have a day off.
Yeah.
As long as you're sensible about your day off.
Yeah.
Regroup. Come back fresh. Play with your dog. Let them enjoy themselves. You enjoy your dog, and then...
Yeah, don't be so hell-bent on making your dog something that they're potentially not, especially in an acute time frame.
Yeah.
So, like, your Romanian street dog that, you know, you've had 2 weeks isn't going to be that pub dog in the next 6 months.
Unlikely, yeah.
So throwing them into that situation, letting them fail, and then you beating yourself up about it over and over again isn't going to help anyone, right?
No.
So just start. It'd be so easy to come out with so many cliches right now, right? Like, enjoy the process and don't worry about the end goal. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Just get used to enjoying training your dog.
Yeah.
Don't worry so much about where you're going to end up. Just get used to getting your dog out, enjoy it, play with your dog, do some fucking food work with your dog, do some scent work with your dog, whatever you want to do, and it'll come. I had a client that had a dog that didn't react for like 3 months, and then it had a fucking blew up another dog, and they were like, I feel like we're back at square one. No, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good. You're sweet. Like, shit happens. Athletes make mistakes. Scientists make mistakes. People at the forefront of whatever their discipline is in the world, they will fuck up and make mistakes. So your formerly reactive dog having a blow up once in a blue moon doesn't mean your dog's still a...
Could do, though.
It could do.
It could.
So... Don't worry. Yep. So long as your reactions are generally getting fewer and far between, it's fine.
Yep.
If you're making no progress, though, you need to change something.
Yeah. And on that note, like, some people don't... Obviously, I've kind of picked a couple of examples of people almost trying too hard. There's many people who don't quite try hard enough.
Yeah.
A bit like your gym analogy earlier on. Essentially, there is some wrench time involved.
Yeah.
You want to make a change in the gym, you go to the gym and you work hard. You want to make a change with your dog, you got to put some work into your dog if you want to change it.
Yeah.
No magic bullet.
No.
Or rarely.
But beating yourself up helps no one, right? Oh, good. Last one, mate.
Okay.
How do I get my dog to stop barking at squirrels, cats, and randomly at nothing? So everything and nothing, basically.
Just... vocalize it. I suppose it depends why the
very
dog...
situational, right?
Yeah, and like, does the dog just love barking? Because if it loves barking, that'd be really difficult because you can't even take the reinforcer away because it just the reinforcer is the barking, right?
Yeah, I think if your dog barks at enough shit and gets a result from it, the behaviour itself, like anything, becomes reinforcing in itself, right? So then your dog just...
They're the hardest types
like a compulsive barker.
There's not many dogs that will just bark at nothing.
No.
There's usually something.
I think a lot of the time the excessive demand barking is for the most part lack of fulfillment to a degree, and then trying to fulfill our dogs reactively to their shitty behaviour.
Yeah.
So instead of ticking the box for our dog and then teaching them how to behave in the house, we let them do nothing in the house till they get to the point of boredom or need to do something. They then bark to get a response from us, then we walk them, play with them or feed them, and then very quickly we've got a really barky dog. So proactively meeting your dog's needs, however you want to do that. Exercise, play, walking them, scatter feeding, licky twat, licky mat.
Lick your flash. What?
Sorry?
What?
Leave it in. And then when the dog is past the point of no return, though, and they are that compulsive barker, then you've got a few options.
Yeah, you do.
You got a couple of options there. Yeah.
Cheese?
It's definitely not cheese. It doesn't involve any sort of dairy products. So, but that's if you're on your last legs. More often than not, 99% of cases, there's something you can do about it. Fulfill the dog, meet their needs, teach them place work. Chances are, though, the dog that is barking at fucking everything has zero training whatsoever.
Start at the
like,
bottom.
just start there. Just start training your dog in other things, like teach them a loose lead walk, teach them how to keep still on their place, teach them to come back when they're called. More often than not, the demand barking will really slow itself down. And you've just got some basic obedience and discipline.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Okay, that's all we have for today. Nice quick one. Anything you want to sign off with?
I like the anonymous format. I think you're right. I think you get an extra level of honesty in questions.
So we'll do more of it.
Yeah, nice.
All right. Signing out. J-Rod and Kirk Dog. See you next time, folks.